Good evening. This is Real Talk with Kdub as a part of the 8 1/2 Stephen Show with Marcus J on Legacy Internet Radio. Today we have another awesome individual, an entrepreneur, author, actress, and founder of Uprising Stars, Inc. I would like to introduce everyone to Miss Danielle Worth. How you doing, Danielle?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Again, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your schedule and, speaking with me and my audience or what have you in regards to some things you have going on. So I'm going to start. No problem at all. I mentioned in the bio that you are an actress. So first thing I want to know is, how did you get into acting?
Wow. So my mom, I started out as a kid actor. And so my mom had taken me to some classes and got some headshots and did the whole mom thing where she was trying to take off of work and take me to auditions and stuff like that. She couldn't keep that up. And so it was something that just stayed with me, from a kid to, elementary to high school. And, something that I still like to do and I still wanted to do. And so I started pursuing it, once I got to high school and once I got to college. Doing plays and readings and commercials and some things of that nature. So it was just something that my mom started that I just picked up and just never let go.
Wow. I've heard this from a number of different people. Sometimes they say that it's like a drug. Being out there on the stage or in front of the camera, it's addicting. You do it and you just can't get away from it. Is that pretty much the am I right on with that?
You can I guess you can use that analogy. I think is that what happens is that most actors, majority of, especially ones that are great, are passionate about it. So anything that you do in life, you should be passionate about. So that means that all facets of the acting, you like to be on set, you like to get a script, you like, that's your element. It's like, someone was a singer and they love to perform in front of people or go on tour. So, there's different components to acting. You could be producing, you could be writing, you could be actually on set, or you could actually be doing a movie or a play, something live on Broadway. So, it's something that because you're passionate about it, you want to keep doing it. You want to get better at it. You want to go to classes. You want to work on yourself. You want to make your craft better. You want to be the best. And so because you're so passionate about it, you want to make sure that you present the best you to the world, whether that's in film, whether that's in TV, whether it's live on Broadway. So you want to make sure that you do everything you need to do, to make your performance great.
What let me ask you, what do you prefer? You prefer the stage or being in front of the camera?
Well, I started out in theater, and I think it gives you a really, really good base because as an actor, there are times when things on stage you make a mistake or you forget a line, in film you can just edit that out. You won't know how many times or how long it took. And so one of the good things about that is it's live. You get to hear the audience reacting to your performance as you're doing it. What did they like? What did they didn't like? Did they laugh at something that was supposed to be funny, or they laughed at something else? And so it's a great way to observe your performance and the actual thing, the production that you're doing, if it's being received well. So I started out in theater. I love that I did that because I got the opportunity to do a regional tour. I got the opportunity to do plays in New York where I experienced that, and I said to myself, wow, this is awesome. However, now I do prefer TV and film. What I like about TV and film is that you can do something, and not that in terms of live, you have to see it. Whereas TV and film, you can see it one time, and you don't have to go back physically to that location to see it again. Whereas at if it was on a Broadway play or was a show in New York, you actually physically have to go, unless they actually have sold it or got it on a DVD. But you can get the same experience, and you can reach multiple, just 10 times more people, when you do TV and film. So you put something on TV, you can reach somebody in California at the same exact time, or down south or up north, whereas if you're doing a play, you have to physically be in the audience or at that location to watch it. So I prefer TV or film now.
Okay. What are some of the projects, movies, shows, commercials that you've worked on?
So I'm still getting my feet wet and climbing the ladder. So I've done some projects on Law and Order, Blue Bloods, some independent films, web series, and stuff like that. And so, like, as I start to, climb the ladder of doing that, I'm actually I've been able to build my reel. So that way, when I'm submitting my stuff to different casting directors and agents, they're able to see the body of work that I've done and some of the projects that I've done, So it's definitely a good look to be able to do things that people have heard of and get speaking roles. So I'm just on that process of trying to, be able to get my name out there more than it is now.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. You being a female as well as being a black female, you've checked two boxes. What would you say are, the hard things about being a black actress trying to be successful in the, in media?
Well, I mean, it's a loaded question because there's so many things that can factor into getting roles for African American or just being a black actress. And one of it is just writing. The more writers we have that are writing roles for us, the more opportunity. I mean, like Viola Davis said it great when she received her award. Basically, if Shonda Rhimes didn't write How to Get Away with Murder, that was an opportunity for her to play that role. And so you have, when we have more writers that are writing roles for us, it becomes easier. However, until you get to a Viola Davis or Taraji P. Henson or, someone of that statue, you have to grind out, and it can be tough, because you're competing and you may not have as many roles, so there are more people competing for one role. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to do your best, and don't take it personally. You have to know or say to yourself, if you go up for a role and there's 50, people going up for it, and and it's only, let's just say, you don't get it and someone else does, you'd have to just say to yourself, you know what, it wasn't meant for me. I'm gonna get the next one. Don't take it personal. Maybe I wasn't right for the part. Maybe they wanted someone who was taller. Maybe they wanted someone who was maybe a darker complexion, or maybe they want someone who had natural hair versus, whatever the case may be. Anything that you do and try to, be successful at, there are all going to be challenges about it. And I go up for roles that are for me, that are for my type. And I don't necessarily try to focus on the obstacles or the challenges. I try to say, okay, they're looking for my type. Let me go to this. I mean, anything that you do, it's a tough business because there's so many people that want to break into the business, and there's so many people, and there's not enough roles. So it's like, like people playing musical chairs. Someone's not going to get a seat, and
right.
Because it's designed that way, and playing musical chairs, there are not enough seats for the people that you have playing the game. So we know going in that someone's not going to get a chair. And so and just using a simple analogy like that, you don't want to focus on that. If you focus, so who determines who's going to get a seat, right? Who determines that?
Right.
Is it luck?
Right.
Is it, so you just got to really just kind of focus on what you're doing. Try to make sure that whatever is holding you back that you can fix, then you do that. So that may mean that you may start writing your own stuff. You may start doing filming and doing production or going to school, enhancing that. So I try not to look at the obstacle of acting in New York, and I'm not getting a lot of roles. I try to look at it and say, okay, well, what can I do to enhance my performance or myself so I will get picked? And I try to stay on that, try to look at it from that perspective. So I'm always trying to better myself. I'm always trying to look at it like, okay, well, what can I do to make myself better? If I was a casting director, what would I be looking to do? How can I stand out? How can I be different? So that's usually my thought process. So that way I'm not concentrating on what I don't have, but what I do have.
And what you can bring. It's funny that you brought that up because I've had conversations with other people, and whenever, for whatever reason, whenever you see a black movie, or a movie I should say with a predominantly black cast, you pretty much already know who's going to be in the movie. it's always
right.
the same group of people that's in these particular movies. And I know, from my personal experience, knowing you or what have you, I know that there's uber amounts of actors and actresses that want that particular chance. So, let me ask you, I know that you went to Howard University. And, there are a number of different actors and actresses that have come out of that particular university. Do you have the ability to, communicate with those people that may have come before you, or even, let's say, if there's someone there currently and they, know about you or hear about you or whatever, is there like a community, I should say, of actors and actresses from Howard that can kind of, share ideas, or even, Taraji P. Henson, asking for advice or something like that? Is there something in place? Is that something that, people are trying to do out of Howard?
I believe, like Taraji, Laz Official, who else? A few of them, I think that they do workshops, just maybe not all the time. I think that just because of their schedules, I don't think it's organized maybe in the way that you described, where it's like maybe it's a Howard thing. It's probably something that's an individual thing. Like Tracy Thomas, she plays in a lot of stuff. She went to Howard. I think it's a part of, who true, and I don't think Howard orchestrates anything. I don't want to say that they don't do it. I'm sure that there's probably something on the school level where maybe these actors and actors come back to the school. And I'm sure they have, but in terms of once you graduate and, is anyone facilitating that? I'm not aware of anything like that. It's probably when you meet them and they're like, because Howard is more like a family. No matter if we know you or not, when we found out we both went to Howard, it's just all love. So, you just may not have been in that particular space. So I'm sure Taraji is probably super busy to where she probably doesn't have the schedule to commit to something like that. But I'm sure who would depend on, what her schedule is. Someone probably, can probably get her to come, do an event or something like that. It may not be as well, it may not be as frequent, I should say, or, just based on their schedules. And I probably think that someone like that, there may be people that are not as big as her that may be doing things like that, but it's just, when you get, sometimes, like, I'm in New Jersey, so I'm not in D.C., so it may just, it may be the community, it may be just for the current students that are doing that. And then you wind up having your own base, friends that you talk to, everyone kind of goes their separate ways. So I'm sure that, there's no, I guess to answer that question, I'm not aware of no big meeting place that happens once a year. However, I haven't been back to Howard in a little while too, so I'm sure that they have. When I was there, they had people come all the time. They come speak to us, talk, kind of like, come back and talk to us and about, the business. They have, like, even during homecoming, they would have, a day where you can kind of meet some of the people in an industry. So I'm sure they're still doing that. But I just don't know how much access you might have to those kind of celebrities like that. Even with stuff like that, you might not have direct access to Taraji P. Henson. She may be talking to you in a group setting, but I don't know if you're able to go talk to her. And,
on a one-on-one and try to pick her brain.
Right. I'm not sure. And if you are, I'm sure she. It may be. Certain, they may have, kind of let the students know, don't ask her, to hook you up. Kind of like they may have, they may have said, these are the kind of questions that you might want to ask or something like that. Right. But I think, once you start getting a name for yourself and you become established, I think that sometimes you can get really, really overloaded with people maybe trying to just have you. I'm sure lots of people might want her to speak and talk, and it may just be timing. I don't think that anyone doesn't want to help and share. I think that it's just maybe a timing issue. So sometimes it can be difficult as well because she probably, she has an agent and they select who they want, and then if you're not in the position, some of the advice that they probably would give is just keep getting yourself, do the work. You know, I mean, like the things that I've done or I've gone to, just do the work. Just do the work,
well, maybe,
and the stuff will
maybe
come
once
through.
once your star gets a little bit more brighter, maybe that can be something that you can implement. You know, maybe that'll be what you can do. You're listening to Real Talk with Kdub on the Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J show. Let me turn it around for you. Earlier I made mention that you're a founder of the Uprising Stars Inc. Foundation. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that and how you came about creating that particular foundation?
Sure. So it's a family nonprofit organization, and we give out scholarships to high school students that want to go to college. And so I actually was in graduate school and learning about different businesses and how they operated. And I decided, in school, hey, I want to start my own business. I kind of felt compelled at that time, to start something. And so I kind of thought about it and was like, okay, there was impulse, thought. And I was like, let me kind of do some research and let me see if this is really something that I want to commit to. And so in doing that, I kind of learned about, do I really want to kind of take on this? Is something I really want to do? And I kind of just prayed on it. And after for a little while, I kind of felt like, this is something that, I had always been helping and volunteering and doing that in some capacity, whether I was a big brother, big sister, working with Special Olympics or working with teams. It was something that I had been doing, throughout the course of my life. And I was like, wow, this will give me an opportunity to be able to still help in the way I can help, because sometimes, when we volunteer and we help, sometimes life just gets a hold of us. We get married, have kids, and we kind of get a little more, we don't have the time like we did when we didn't have those things. And so from there, Uprising Stars was born. That was in 2011. And so we primarily give out scholarships to high school students that want to go to college. We also do career and college workshops for students who not quite sure where they want to go. They have some questions about financial aid or the college life or the academic process and getting to college. And then we do nonprofit seminars, or college or business seminars, entrepreneurs who want to get into a business, not necessarily a nonprofit, but want to know what to do, how to get started, and they might not be able to afford a business school like I went to. So we try to, those are kind of the three areas that we embark on and try to help the community in those facets.
Okay. Who are some of your past hosts or guests that you've had at your event? Danielle, you still there with us?
I'm here.
Okay, lost you for a minute. I know that you have an event or what have you coming up, and I don't know if you heard the question or not, but who were some of the people that you've had maybe hosted or honored, as well as guests that you've had at your previous event?
Oh, sure. So this is our 6th year. So what we do is when we give the recipients, when we select recipients to give the scholarship, we host an annual gala. So this is our 6th gala. So some of our keynote speakers have been principals, right here in the city. This year we have the VP of TV1, Robin Green Arrington. So she's going to deliver the keynote. Last year we had Latouro Yates, who was actually the director of admissions and enrollment at York College. So we have a few people, and we honor different community individuals who are doing things in the community. So we honor people that have their own nonprofits. We honor people who have been in news media. Like last year, we honored Maria Pagan. She works at News 41, so it's Spanish station. And like this year, our communicator of the year is Selena Hill, who works at Black Enterprise. So we try to get people who are doing great things in community and honor them, give them. So it's celebrating. It's like a night of celebrating a night of achievement. So those are some of the things that that we do. So we primarily for that particular evening. We have recipients, we have honorees, we do have entertainment, we have dinner, we have vendors. So we try to, have the vendors who are entrepreneurs who just sell on different products that, things that they're doing. And we try to, let our guests and network patronize them. It's been hosted usually the last few years we had it hosted by the comedian Talent, who's going to host again this year. So,
awesome.
we try to make it, to where it's a good networking event, as well as we're recognizing people for doing great things. And so as we, we reach out to the community, we have partnered with Applebee's and Investors Bank and CarePoint Health, so some of the people that we've worked with in the past, or some law firms that are, sponsor us or give us a donation and things like that. So, we can be able to give, because in order to have this gala, it's expensive, and, so we appreciate donations that people give to us that believe in our cause. We're a 501c3, so any donation that we receive, it is tax deductible. Okay. And so you get a tax write-off for it. So we encourage people who may want to donate and help, but they don't have time to create a business. So they may be able to say, I have this amount of money that's extra, and I want to help. And so it gives us an opportunity to meet the people, meet the recipients, and be able to say, okay, it's not just I gave $1,000. You can actually meet the person that you're actually helping.
Right. With your event, I know personally that you've received some publicity. Why don't you let my audience know some of the publicity and that you've received for your event, for your gala?
Sure. So we started out small, smaller than we are now, I would say. So we started out with some cable radio and TV, and then we went to News 12, which is based out of New Jersey, and then we just did WBLS, which is out of New York, radio interview with Deja Vu. And then our biggest news piece was on ABC with Sandra Bookman. It's a show called Here and Now, so anybody wanted to kind of look up the interview, you can do that. And those platforms just broaden our base to where people are familiar. They know who, those different news media platforms are. They know Dela Cruz, and they know that, she does the spotlight in, New Jersey 12 News. So they're familiar with those. And so it just helps our brand, when you kind of turn on TV and you see our organization and what we're doing. And so we get exposure from that, from the ABC interview with Sandra Bookman. It aired in the metropolitan area. So we got, feedback from different schools from Long Island all the way down to South Jersey that was calling and inquiring how could they get us to come speak at the school.
And didn't you just recently get a tweet or a follow or something like that in regards to your event recently?
Oh, yeah. So one of our honorees who works at Black Enterprise was able to get the social media department to tweet on Twitter, tweet about our event. So they, recognize the Rising Stars for honoring her, and they, put the name of the organization as well as the date. So, it's a great thing when you have, people that will do things for you, and just, we're all supporting the same cause to try to help the community and help and do it. And everyone has a different part. So, it comes together when we all do our part.
Right. All right. I got one more question to ask you. Is going to wrap the interview up. If you could close your eyes right now and just think to yourself, you're Danielle right now. If you had the opportunity to meet 18-year-old Danielle, what would you tell her?
The 18-year-old Danielle?
Yes. What kind of advice would you have for her? What would you tell her?
Wow.
I know I put you on the spot.
I would tell her to keep going. I would tell her to keep going and do not let the challenges distract you. Keep going. Sometimes, I would say to her, you got a great passion and great energy and great fire to be successful. And there are going to be some struggles that you're not going to see coming, but keep going. Because you can make it. That's what I would say. Keep going. You can make it.
That's what's up. All right. Well, we got less than a minute. What I'll do is give you the floor if you could provide my guests with your contact information, social media, or how they would be able to find out more information about either yourself or the Uprising Stars Inc. Foundation.
Sure. So I'm on Facebook as Danielle Monet Worth. You can look me up. And if you want to communicate with me personally, however, the organization is Uprising Stars. We're on Facebook as well under Uprising Stars. We're on Instagram, it's Uprising Stars Inc., and we're on Twitter as Uprising Stars, up_rising_stars is our social media. You can email us, which is uprisingstars.inc@gmail.com, and our website is uprisingstars.inc.org. So you can kind of go to our website. You can kind of look at all literature and things that we've done since 2011. Our mission is on there. You can look at some pictures of past galas. All of the recipients that we've awarded is on there. All of our media contacts is on there. If you would like to make a donation, that link is on there as well. And so just keep in contact, stay engaged. You can just go to our Facebook, like our page, and then that way you can kind of stay abreast of what we're doing, where we're going to be, and that way you can get the news feeds and you can get the comments of what's going on, and then that way, anytime that you're able to help or participate, you'll be able to do so.
And don't forget, people, July 29th, the 6th Annual Scholarship Awards Gala for Uprising Stars, Inc. This has been Real Talk with Kdub. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll come back with more of the Ain't No Half Steppers Show with Marcus J. Peace, family.